Make sure it's working. Okay. So this was the list of the architects I've given tributes to, and tonight I want to give a nice special tribute to a good friend of mine who I knew almost for 40 years, Wayne Estopinal. So we'll talk a little bit about his life here. I want to acknowledge first Teresa Estopinal, who's here with us this evening, Stephen Driver, who's around here someplace, he's in the front row, Harriet Goldberg, who's in the back there, and the Jeffersonville Library for hosting this event this evening. We've been working on this program for the last few months, and as I go through the program, if you want to talk about one of the specific projects or something about Wayne's career as we go through it, feel free to raise your hand and talk a little bit, or at the very end of the program, we will give you an opportunity to talk as well. So this was a bio of Wayne that was in Business First back in 2018, talking about his career highlights there on the right. And I will supplement this. They didn't get them all there, but we will add to that list. So here are some family photos of Wayne as he was growing up. Some you may be familiar with as such. His grandfather was a fireman, and Wayne was very proud to have a fireman's outfit. My grandson, he has a fireman's outfit as well, but a lot of fun doing that sort of thing. And some of you may know that Wayne's boyhood home was over here on Riverside Drive. Was it Locust and Riverside, I want to say?
301.
301, Riverside Drive. And they relocated it a few years ago. And now if you go to the taco place there by the Big Ford Bridge, you can actually experience Wayne's old home, boyhood home there. I've been there on several occasions. It used to be a hot dog place as well. But we're so glad that they saved the house, me being a preservationist, that they were able to save it. And we probably need to get a historical marker there, Stephen. That's something we can work on. Birthplace of Wayne Estopinal. Well, not birthplace, but boyhood home.
Birthplace.
Yeah, boyhood home.
Yeah.
Some more family photographs here. I do an architectural database. I track architects and what projects they do. I have a database of over 3,000 buildings in metropolitan Louisville area of who designed them, when were they built, where are they located. I'm constantly getting calls from people from around the community doing research on these buildings or architects. And so a few years ago I started with just a brief listing of about 100. And now through OCD, I'm up to like 3,000. But this was the ones that I had for Wayne. Some of the projects that he's done there. Here's an article that was in, Wayne was a Business Leader of the Year in 2012. Nice profile of Wayne. He loved running marathons. About 32 marathons he ran. This one up here in Chicago, 1995. When I was at Humana, when I worked with Wayne, he was constantly out running, doing various things. He's talking about the Southern Indiana Greenway here, and me and my wife walk that on a regular basis, as well maybe you will also. But Wayne loved that trailway as well, and every time I walk it I think of Wayne and him spending time on that. This was a great article. This was in 2004, Wayne talking about his career and how he went around about his process, what he liked, what he didn't like. Very excellent narrative of his career. So this is a great legacy. I wish more architects would do this sort of thing to tell us exactly how they went about doing their projects. He talked about getting into the office very early. I'm sure Teresa loved him getting very early in the office. And I agree with his statement up there. The reason why you get in early in the office is the telephone's not ringing. Once 7:30, 8 o'clock rolls around, as an architect, that phone starts ringing and your day's off and running. And you really don't have much other time to think about strategy. And so he would get in early, as I used to back, but not as early as that. I think he said, what, 4 or 5 a.m. he would get into the office. I got in around 6. So Marketing information that Wayne's firm did, TEG, that was published in Business First periodically. They would promote their projects. This is from Wayne's brochures, marketing brochures, touting all the projects that he did. A number of these are Southern Indiana projects. And I love the office projects there too. Photographs. Some more of the brochure information. This is great stuff to have, especially for future researchers. Historians in future years will be looking at this sort of information and trying to figure out how Wayne went and did things. Like I mentioned earlier, Arthur Loomis, who was a great architect based here in Jeffersonville, but did a lot of his projects in Louisville. And I wish we had similar information on him as well, Arthur Loomis, to understand how he went about building buildings. But this is great historical research for future generations that we can capture and save for later use. The TEG office, just down the street here, still there and doing well. So I got to know Wayne when I worked with him at Humana, and that's where he started a lot of doing his healthcare projects, and he really transformed and did some phenomenal hospital and clinic projects. This is one in Lafayette, Louisiana that he worked on. And this is a Trinity Health in Minot, North Dakota. And I'm going to do a little boasting here, if you will. To me, healthcare architects are sort of at the top of the architectural pyramid. And we may have some here in the audience, but I like to boast that healthcare architects, we're sort of at the top because it's a very technical profession, what we do. Literally, lives are in our hands when we design these facilities. I did the trauma unit over at the University of Louisville Hospital. And so whenever you hear of someone going to the trauma unit at U of L, I designed that, and literally those physicians and staff depend on me getting all the equipment and design layout so they are as productive and efficient as possible. And Wayne was at the very top of what he did. He was a highly technical architect, very skilled, just like a surgeon. He was like an orthopedic surgeon, as we tend to relate to ourselves. So he did projects across the country, a lot of technical healthcare projects. Here's one that he did in Terre Haute, Indiana, okay? A Union Hospital. This, I think, was the medical office building. Stephen, correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I think that's the MOB, and then this is the main hospital that he worked on. Beautiful facilities. One of the interesting things about hospital design really evolved. When me and Wayne worked together at Humana in the early 1980s, hospitals were very sterile, they were white, they were not very user-friendly, if you will. They weren't very warm, they were very cold facilities. And Humana wanted to warm them up. And so we brought wood into the facilities. And while it looks like wood, it's more than likely vinyl wood there. But back then, vendors, manufacturing folks did not make those type of products. And we at Humana had to go out to these industries and say, hey, we don't like just putting down white surfaces or vinyl surfaces. We want them to look like wood. We want to warm things up. And nowadays, you go into any healthcare facility, that's what you see, like Wayne's design here. So he was on the leading edge of healthcare redesign of facilities. Here is Shreveport, Louisiana facility. And Willis Knight, which was a major client of Wayne's down Louisiana. This also is Shreveport. Another Shreveport. Don't catch the name up there. It's Willis Knight, though. And you can see the vinyl wood there. I remember when we first brought in wood floors into the facilities. Number one, the code officials hated us doing it. They said we're going to burn the facility down, bringing in wood, but we said it's vinyl, it's treated. But to get these vinyl wood floors so that they accept because they had to be cleaned on a regular basis with very intense chemicals to kill out the germs, we went through a number of vendors to come up with a white with the right wood vinyl floor to survive a cleaning in a hospital. We did a lot of testing of those over the years. And here's another facility they did in Vivian, Louisiana. I'm sure that's a Willis Knight, perhaps. Stephen, correct me if I'm wrong on that. But I'm sure a lot of these are Willis Knight healthcare system projects, which was a major client of his in Louisiana. And of course here locally, the MOBs over at Clark Memorial Hospital, not very far from here, designed by Wayne. I love this building. In fact, I was just out there earlier today by this facility. I always love looking at this. Norton Cancer Institute that Wayne worked on. Cancer institutes, oncology centers, very difficult, challenging projects to design and build. A lot of innovative equipment that has to go in there. You have to get it right. Very intense to design this. This may look like maybe a simple exterior, but on the interior, the systems of this are extremely complex. And I'm sure Wayne spent a lot of time making sure everything was connected and flowed properly. This is interesting. This was published in 2018, I think in March of that year, talking about an interesting challenge that he had on the healthcare project, talking about the structural design of this hospital project that he was working on. So again, it gives more insight into how he went about solving his design challenges. So I'm glad we again have this document to for future research as to how Wayne went about doing his projects. So that was his healthcare projects. But what's also amazing is now when I, as an architect, all I did was healthcare. I was in the healthcare profession for about 40 years, and I hardly did any non-healthcare projects. So for Wayne to go from healthcare to non-healthcare is a feat for architects to do. Once you get into healthcare, you don't really deviate from that. But Wayne did some phenomenal projects that were not healthcare. This was prepared a few years ago of projects in the Jeffersonville area, southern Indiana area, which indicates where these were located. And I'll go through these. I got all these as such. Mr. Don's restaurant. I'm not exactly sure what sort of menu that Mr. Don's had, but it has since changed to what's LifeSpring now, which I think is a behavioral health or rehabilitation facility, but that which is still existing. Did this church, Wall Street United Methodist. Police headquarters. Whenever you're watching the news at night, they always feature the exterior. Jeffersonville City Hall there at the old Quadrangle Historic Properties. I'm so glad that they were able to save all that, and Wayne was able to repurpose it into that. Quartermaster Depot, as some of you know, date back to the Civil War when they utilized it for supply of troops. This, the Becker Correctional Complex. Again, it's just right down the street from us as well as we sit. So again, I was blown away when I saw that Wayne was doing projects like this, correctional complex. Not exactly sure what's going on inside there, whether or not that's courtrooms or whether it's a jail facilities or whatever, but this is a whole different level of design as well that he got into. Church design. Wayne, his talent spread the full gamut of architectural building types. A school. Another school. This was more of a multi-purpose building addition. I don't think he did the main school. Correct me if I'm wrong, Stephen, but I think another architect did the main school, but he did the addition there in the multi-purpose. And then over in New Albany, this professional office building here, which is pretty, it's a landmark design here in New Albany as you're driving through. You really note this design as you go through. State and Spring. of course, the adjacent parking structure there. Again, he did just what a wonderful portfolio that he produced. And this is the garage today. They went in, they put a lot of murals. So when you see what Wayne designed, it's kind of nice, but they came in and I'm not sure if Wayne had any input into the murals on the side of this.
I found it.
I wasn't going to go there. I wasn't going to say anything about it. But anyways. Well, and of course, the YMCA, just spectacular project. Just a phenomenal landmark that will be standing for many years. And again, the way he designed these, they are landmarks today, and they will be 50 years from now. Preservationists 100 years from now will be saying, let's save this building, let's don't tear it down. That's the good thing about how Wayne designed. He designed very signature type projects that will stand the test of time. Here I came across this marketing. He's talking about the YMCA. You can see renderings of it in the background there. The Big Four Station Park. Wow, me and my wife are here regularly, as I'm sure you are as well. We enjoy this, coming down that ramp into all the restaurant and vitality that it's given Jeffersonville. Just this phenomenal project. Just wow, what a capstone to your career by doing something like this. And of course the Abbey Road on the river being used there. Me and my wife go to that as well, and it takes up the entire park area. But yeah, just. And then of course the pylons that he designed there, and I'm sure a lot of you are aware of how they change color as you go up, and they denote the 1937 flood level, Jeffersonville, which is still amazing that the flood waters got that high, which I would think would go up to this ceiling or higher. But yeah, just spectacular at night. And you can see the flood, the color gradation change there. And it's called Wayne Estopinal Plaza. Some of you may not be familiar with that, but there's a little plaque off to the side here that talks about Wayne and his involvement here in this project. Another professional office building, which is right across the street from the TEG headquarters. There, it's a dental facility now. But again, you don't see too many nice strip retail centers designed as this. Very, very thoughtfully put together. Fire department even. Good Lord. Fire station number 1 over in New Albany. I always like when I drive by this at night and it's all lit up, it glows. Masterfully done. Thornton Oil headquarters over in Louisville, just off the Snyder Freeway there on Old Henry Road. I take it it's built, this is a rendering of it. I'm not sure what the status of it is, but I'm sure it's probably been built by now. I hope. And Wayne designed his house. Some of you may be familiar with that. A little sketch of it there in the upper right-hand corner. Because the trees, I won't say anything, Teresa, but if you cut those trees down, I'm just joking, see it a little bit better. I looked at I did this off of Google Street View. I didn't go over there to get a better photo, but I kept trying to say, how did I get rid of those trees? But I put the sketch up there and you can see it better as to how it was what Wayne had in mind. And in 2018, his new residence that he was building down there at Locust and Riverside Drive, this was the status of it at the end of 2018. A little aerial view of what it would have looked like. And again, this was the location of Wayne's boyhood home as well, the house that got moved over by Big Four Station Park. But they took the boyhood home out, and Wayne was going to put his new home there. That was what it was to appear like. and that's what it looks like today. I actually got to go through this a few weeks ago. Beautifully done on the inside, the way it has been completed. And I say by the new owner, and I just got, right before the meeting here, I got a text from the current owner saying I can reveal who owns it. It's Paul and Beth Torp, T-O-R-P. Paul is also an architect, and so he was able to purchase the unfinished project and complete it. So that's his architectural career, but his passion, it would seem, was really into soccer. As long as I knew Wayne, we kept telling him, Wayne, soccer, really? You know, we kept talking to him about it. Wasn't quite sure it would pan out, but he put a lot of time and effort into it. He loved soccer. That's all he would talk about. And here's a nice article about his career that was in the Courier Journal about soccer, and his dream about what to do about bringing professional soccer to Louisville. He had a dream, if you will, and he did succeed in doing that. Just in June 5th, 2014 is when they announced FC Louisville. Just 10 years ago, gosh. I'll never forget, I was in a restaurant, I think I told Teresa and Stephen this. I was in a restaurant, it had to be in 2012, because it was a couple of years prior to this announcement. I was in a restaurant in Louisville, and there was a table next to me with about 5 men sitting around this table, and one of them goes, yeah, there's this crazy architect, and he mispronounced Wayne's name, but I knew who he was talking about. I knew who he was talking about. He goes, he's got this, he wants to bring a soccer team here. And so what this group was around this table, they were trying to get investors for the soccer club. And I never did tell Wayne that story, but it was, I was laughing, so I'm listening. I said, what's Wayne up to now? It's funny. And then here he is at the soccer. He did design the U of L soccer stadium on the campus over there. Very modern design. And he came up with this innovative retractable mound for baseball stadiums that would convert to soccer stadiums. And so how do you do that in a timely manner? If they got a game the next day, how do you transition from back and forth? So he came up with this prototype, and here you can see how they were building it and how it came up and down, how the mound would recede down and all. And I still don't quite understand how it works, so I'll let Teresa discuss it afterwards. But they are putting one in down at Knoxville Baseball Stadium there, constructing it. That's ongoing. It's probably complete now. This was a few months ago. And it's been installed at the Texas Rangers Stadium in Arlington, Texas, and of course at Louisville Slugger Field. And I think they may be installed at a few more stadiums here, hopefully in the future. Some more achievements of Wayne's as we go through it. So here's sort of a boilerplate of his various involvements, professional affiliations. He was a fellow with the Healthcare Architects, and I met with him not a week, but a month prior to the incident, and he wanted to go through fellowship in the American Institute of Architects. He would have been a slam dunk on that. I'm a fellow in the AIA, and I was going to assist Wayne in becoming a fellow also in the AIA, which he certainly would have achieved. But you can see all the other groups that he was involved with. And more listing of his achievements, just phenomenal credits here to his career. He was involved in some book design, books and articles. He was always being profiled, or his projects in healthcare magazines, other publications. He was a trustee at Ball State University. He's there on the left. So So here's some articles dealing with his legacy. Just, yeah, not much more you can say about it. He's done it all. This is his obituary in the Courier Journal, and lists all the great things that he did. And I'm glad, as a historian, I know this is painful to some, but as a historian, I'm so grateful these type of obituaries. Obituaries now are so short or whatever, they don't give all the details. And we historians, it's what we deal with, these type of documents. And so 100 years from now, someone will be looking this up and seeing what all Wayne has done. And of course, at the soccer stadium over in Louisville, they named the end zone for him. Very fitting. And it's always on TV too. If you watch one of the soccer games, it's always being shown. So they still remember his efforts bringing the soccer to Louisville and the region. Ball State University renamed their architecture and planning college for Wayne. That's his daughter there, Ashley, if I have that correctly speaking. And more about the architecture school there at Ball State. Wow, what a, I mean, fitting tribute that is. And I won't dwell on this very long, but there have been several reports about the incident that happened, and leave it at that. It's just a tragic day. I'll never forget being in the office and rumors started going through the architectural services as to what might have happened, and it was just, we just could not believe it that day. Just a really sad day in history. And then afterwards, TEG had a little change in transition there, and now it's known as Orcott Winslow plus TEG. They just completed this really nice professional office building over in Louisville off at Waterson and Breckenridge Lane area. It's a beautiful facility, a great tribute to Wayne because it picks up a lot of the detailing that he would have admired. And so here's a little timeline. As mentioned earlier, Business First had a little listing of his career, but I added a little bit more to it. I included when he came to Humana in '82, then he moved to Dallas in '86, then they came back to Jeffersonville in '89. They opened up the Shreveport office in 1993, the Louisville office in 2007, and pro soccer announcement. And then he was honored as a fellow in the American College of Healthcare Architects in 2018. A little bit more of his legacy there. I love this. Teresa sent these to me, which sort of summarized all of the various aspects of his career, from the soccer to the retractable, the architectural firm Ball State, Mockingbird Valley Soccer Club, which he owned. And then what I see every time I cross that Big Ford Bridge, I see the Wall of Champions as I come down that, and I always look across there. And I think this is, I wish Louisville would do something like this personally. And of course they unveiled one for Wayne. And there's his actual memorial there, which it's so great that they did that. Golly. And like I say, I wish our city would do something like this. So that's a phenomenal wall there. Glad they remember Wayne in this manner. And I always liked Wayne's signature. We could never figure out why he did that. He always put the 3 dots on the end of his name. We couldn't quite figure it out. Maybe he didn't want people to mimic his signature style, which we could never do anyways. But I always liked how he signed his name. It was very distinctive as such. So thanks for attending, and if anyone would like to talk about Wayne, you're welcome to do so at this time. If anyone, a former client is here, or if you live in one of his buildings, I'll let whoever would like to talk. I'm sure, hopefully there's, yes.
Steve, I was just a friend of Wayne. He's an exceptional person. One of the slides at the very beginning, it was an interview that had asked him questions. And one of the questions was something about, tell us if you made a mistake or what mistake you made. And the answer was very interesting and to me spoke as to who Wayne wanted to be working around him. Not just because they had the technical expertise, but they had more than that.
Correct. Yeah, and like I say, that I wish we would have more of those type of interviews for architectural, for whatever, to leave that legacy as to what your values were and how you went about doing your career. Definitely. Other comments? By the way, I'm sorry that the sun's shining through on something there, the way that is, but I think that's Wayne's way of telling us he's watching over us here. Yeah, sure. Yes, way in the back. Yes.
My name's Kelly Carnigan. I'm from New Albany, Indiana. I first met Wayne at Ball State University, and we became very close friends. And Teresa?
She's in the back.
Haven't seen you since Ball State days. Wow. She would come up to Ball State to visit Wayne, and she would bring my girlfriend, do you remember, a couple times, to Ball State. And I don't remember hanging out together, but I think maybe we did a little bit. He just lived 2 doors down from me in the dorm at Ball State. And of course, he was at the School of Architecture there. And up there, I mean, you noted the fact that he was a tireless, dedicated student of architecture, obviously. His success proves that. But, and he'd always come back late in the evenings, just hanging his head. Oh man, I'm so tired. I'm just worn out. You know, he had a little swagger to him, you know what I'm talking about. But we were terrible. We played practical jokes on him. We'd slide, I can't mention what we slid, but we slid all kinds of derogatory things under his door. We put Vaseline on his doorknob so he couldn't open the door. We did all kinds of...
Did y'all used to do, at UC, we used to take album covers.
Yes.
And put either whipped cream or shaving cream on them.
There you go.
Slide them under the door
Here.
and step on them, and then shaving cream would go.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, poor Wayne would come back after working countless hours at the School of Architecture.
Yeah, we did a lot of
you know, and
things.
then he had to face this terrible, whatever we did,
Yes.
so on and so forth. But my claim to fame with Wayne is Wayne's first airplane ride, if Teresa remembers, I don't know if she remembers, was with me. I got my pilot's license in my senior year in high school, 1972. And Wayne just was really enamored with aviation. We kept talking a lot. So one weekend we came home and I said, let me take you flying. And I took him flying. And I think he fell in love with aviation right then and there. And he learned to fly by, that's called, he got his private license. And I think Teresa, on one birthday, or maybe Christmas, gave him an airplane.
I did.
And I was just so impressed with that, you know.
Wow.
So Wayne and I go back, and he was very dedicated. He worked very, very hard in the School of Architecture. He had to, because at that time, Ball State was in the top 10 of the School of Architecture in the country. You know, so it was a very, very challenging program all the way around for Wayne and those who attended. I do remember, too, I was riding my bike. I'm a bike rider, not motorcycles, pedal bikes. And Wayne was jogging. This was in Clarksville, down along the river. And he was jogging along, and here I came. And I stopped. I said, God, Wayne, you know, great. I hadn't seen you for quite a while. And he stopped, and he started talking to me. And he hung his head low because he was so disappointed. He had run all these marathons, and he was such a runner, but he had a heart event. Remember that, Teresa?
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly what was in a stent. Did it have a stent put in, or?
Yes.
Yes. And he was devastated. I mean, he was just, you know, all these years he's run all these marathons. And I didn't know what to say to him. I felt bad for him. But here he was, still running after the stint, still working hard.
I thought maybe disrupted his timing of his marathon.
Well, that could have been, that could have been, that could have been. So I just remember too, the last time I saw Wayne was really, unfortunately, not long before the accident, and he was at the Penn Dennis Club. Did he join the Penn Dennis?
Yes,
I think
he
he
did.
joined.
He did.
And I was, ironically, I was sitting there entertaining 3 architects from New Albany. And Wayne came in, and he saw me, and he came over, and oh boy, he introduced, he talked to us all. It was great. It was a great time.
Yeah.
He was a wonderful
Well,
guy.
excellent memory. And,
So I just thought I'd share that with everybody.
Yeah, bring up
But
something
we
personal.
were tenacious to him. I feel bad now, but we were so mean to him.
Well, thank you very much for those.
But he did work hard. There's no
Yes.
question.
Other comments? Similar comments? Yeah, Wayne was a very passionate, dedicated person, but yet he cared a lot for Jeffersonville. He gave not only great projects here locally, but nationally as well. And so it's one reason why I wanted to do a tribute for him. And some of you may know the reason why we're doing it on this evening in particular. Today is his birthday. For those of you who may not be familiar with September 19th. So that's one reason I wanted to do it on this date. So anyways, Stephen, you have any comments that you'd like to interject?
I'll defer to Teresa first.
Okay,
And
Teresa.
I know there's some employees here that probably have some stories they don't want to share, so.
Teresa, if you would like to say a word or two, you're welcome to do
You
so.
pretty well, you covered everything. I've never known anybody to work as hard as he has, or that he did. He created some phenomenal things, so I'm very proud of him for that. John was with us forever and a day, and Greg, and a whole bunch of you guys, Kathy, Charles, Matt, David, Peggy, did we miss anybody? I said Greg, okay, I think I said Greg. Do you guys have any stories or anything that you want to talk about Wayne? He had some of the wildest relationships Wayne had. The most interesting, funny, volatile, or however you want to call it, Charles. They would go at it and they would fight like cats and dogs over something, and then 2 seconds later they're best friends and you'd think they were married or something. Crazy, crazy. And everybody can attest to it, he demanded a lot. He would never ask anybody to do anything that he wouldn't do himself. But he was tough. He was tough, and I think you guys could probably attest to that.
That's one reason I never went to work for Wayne.
I remember Humana, with Gary Vance, Monty Hoover, and all those guys, and they taught him a lot.
Yeah.
And he was like a sponge. That healthcare stuff, he was just eating up with it. And he spent way too many hours working. He never did get that balance with work-family. It was always work, He always did, but he was
24/7,
proud
yes.
of it.
Yes,
That's what he wanted to do.
he lived a full life, yes. Stephen, any comments on yours?
Yeah, I can definitely attest to the work-life balance thing. But, yeah, you had a great picture in there of our grandfather, Buttons Bennett. He had a saying, I think, he passed away when I was 11, 12 years old. He always said, and I know Wayne remembers it because we would talk about it. He would have the saying, "If job's not worth doing unless it's done well." And I think that's, that stuck with Wayne for everything. So I definitely credit Papa for a lot of Wayne.
Well, he stuck to it very well. Any other comments? Again, I'm sorry for the sun getting in y'all's eyes over there, but
I would like to say one thing.
yeah,
We always try to do a really good job, but to him, you took it differently. Like, I always felt like I put something in front of him, because I'm the 3D artist that worked at TG, and we always just try to give them the best thing we could possibly give them in the shortest amount of time, you know, you could possibly give it to them. And it was never good enough. And there are a lot of times where you would make changes before you're done doing what you're doing. So what you just did over the weekend, you have to redo on Monday. And that was one thing I had to get used to. I had to remember to ask Wayne, go, do you need this on Monday, or is this a fake deadline? and every now and then he'd look at you and go, well, I guess I could get on Tuesday. You're like, okay, well, I didn't have to oversleep or you know, come in the whole weekend and do it. So he was like that. He was a great guy when you got to know him at the very beginning. Man, it was tough. I was like, I wouldn't be here more than 2 years. And now I've been here for 14.
Wow.
And I would still be there if he was still here. But that didn't work out that way. But yeah, he was a good guy, and he taught you a lot, and I miss him dearly.
Well, unless there's any other comments, we'll pull this to a close, but, oh yes, one more, yes, you have a special thing that you want to
Yeah, it's
do.
kind of weird. I met Wayne at 4:45 every morning because I opened the door at the YMCA. So that, like you said, at 4 o'clock, that's probably when he got up, but he was at the Y. And quite a few of his other probably investor people that were friends, they would have their purple ties a lot of days when they came in. So anyway, I had lived in Jeffersonville. I've lived here 30 years now. And I was a school bus driver at one time, and I'd seen when the front of the house was, you know, that way, and then the front of the business was that way, and I put 2 and 2 together, and I'm like, okay, you know, and so I kind of got to know him by seeing the things around town. So then when part of your job at the Y, when you're working front desk, is memorizing people's names. So I'm, you know, memorizing names. I'm like, I'll put 2 to 2 together. And then I'm an artist, and I do pay attention to design. And so I have watched a PBS special about the 10 most significant architectural designs in the world or something. And I watched it the night before he came in. I kind of said something about it, and we talked about different things. And after that, you know, we kind of had a little something to chat about every day. It was kind of fun for me, you know, because they're just coming in to work out because it's early in the morning. But the day that Wayne passed away in the plane crash, that kind of, you know, I mean, I know everybody was shocked. And so as an artist, I expressed it, and I've had a painting that I've had since then, and no one's seen it. So I felt like I wanted to bring it tonight to, you know, show it. I don't think it's a great painting, but it was made out of an emotional moment, and I think the people in this room would probably relate to what I tried to do. So this is hard to see from a distance, but that's a piece of the local map that includes Louisville and southern Indiana. And just kind of so many people saw everything that he did. And of course, the plane crashing. But this is kind of a, you know, a tear, but I did try to put a little wing on it, you know. And so then the hand has got the soccer ball kind of welcoming him into eternity.
Phenomenal. Well, again, I just think the turnout here this evening reflects the tribute that we have for Wayne's career. And I'm so grateful for everyone to have been here this evening to do this. Likewise, as noted, I will be putting this up on YouTube later this evening, and be sending it out to Stephen and to Teresa if you're interested in obtaining a copy of it. But I want to thank everyone for being here this evening. Any other comments before we pull to a close?
Thank you for
Okay.
putting all this.